Hi, my name is Moshe Kindler, and I'm the publisher of The Jewish Link,
Hi, this is Elizabeth Kratz. I'm editor of The Jewish Link.
and you're on the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting podcast.
Hi, welcome to the Jewish Link podcast, the pitch meeting. I'm Hannah Kirsch, sitting in for Moshe and Elizabeth, and I'm here with our summer interns, so why don't they introduce themselves?
Hi, I'm Shira Adler. I'm from Teaneck, New Jersey. I go to Stern. I went to Minot, and I'm so excited to be working at Jewish Link this summer.
Hi, I'm Daniel Jaffe. I from Teaneck. I go to YU right now, and also very happy to be here.
So why don't you guys tell me a little bit about why you got into journalism, what your connection to writing is, and why you wanted this internship?
Okay. So I have always read Jewish Link every single week. I mean, it gets delivered to my house. And I've always loved seeing it, seeing everyone I know in it. And I've always loved writing also. So when I saw this internship, I was like, well, this is perfect. It's something I can do. I can be at home. I can be with my family. But I can also just write and learn more about the Jewish community and actually have a part in something that so many people read every single week.
Sure.
Yeah, so I also read the Jewish Link pretty religiously throughout my life, and I've always liked writing, but I've never, really done anything with that. Then I got to college, and they started asking you, what's your major? So, I tested the waters with a few things, and then decided I'm going to do English. So when this summer came, I looked for an opportunity to write, and to do it right here in my hometown would be great. So.
Yeah, it's a perfect outlet for writing interests, and especially English majors. But why don't you guys tell me more about how the internship has helped you guys figure out what you want to do maybe, or what professional development you guys have seen so far?
Okay, so definitely it's just introduced me to the world more. So now I know how to conduct an interview over the phone, and I really know how to write an article now. So I just feel like it gave me so much experience that really will help me in the real world, and something that I never would have gotten otherwise.
Yeah, again, same thing, a lot of help learning the ins and outs of writing, interviewing, working actually under someone. All the writing I've done is for myself, for essays for school. So working as part of a team writing, that's definitely a new experience.
Yeah.
And in terms of just a newspaper, maybe I shouldn't say this, but it's helped me learn that I don't necessarily think I would do newspaper writing, the whole reporting kind of thing. And that, I wanted to do something more personal, something like that.
Yeah, I mean, this is the intern takeover, so you could say whatever you want. But on that note, what more do you want from this internship? What can we do in the future to make this internship a little bit better, maybe a little more helpful? Or what new assignments are you looking for at the end of the summer?
Yeah, so I think that, it's definitely been great. It's given me so much opportunity. And I think that, as an internship, it's definitely served the purpose that is, to have. And it's given me so many important skills. And I think, one thing that I would just love to see more of the Jewish Link, and obviously it is a newspaper, so you have to stay somewhat formal, but I think, a more personal side to, the writing, and a more fun, a little more, not necessarily interactive, because it's hard to be interactive with a newspaper, but more of a talking voice when writing, I think could definitely, help interact with readers.
Very interesting. You could do like a personal essay or something. I'd love to read it. Yeah.
I definitely I feel like I have a lot of independence here. So I get asked what I want to write, or once I write, it's like, okay, so maybe you'll look it over. But then I really feel like I've gotten more confident in my writing. Like that first day, they gave me a huge article, and I was like freaking out a little bit. But like once I got over that, and then people were like, oh, that was actually good. I was like, oh, cool, I guess I can write. And so now I can just really I can submit articles, and I really just feel confident in my work, and that's something that I think is amazing.
Yeah, that's really nice. Is there something you'd want to see more of?
I don't know, maybe just again, Daniel said personal pieces. I'd love to, I'm going to an event in July, I'd love to be able to write something on that, just my experience there.
Okay, so what's something that you guys think you'll take with you that you've loved or that has stuck out to you in any way about this job?
So
hard to think of.
Something I said before, but I think this is my first time really working. This is my first job. I've done counselor in camps before, but that doesn't that's just a classic Jewish thing. But so this is my first real job, and it was very nice to work with the team, and thankfully everyone here is so great, so helpful, and to have that to move into actually working with teams in future jobs, I think is something I'll definitely take with me.
Yeah, and what about, like, do you think working in the Jewish world as well? Because I know for me, like, this is the Jewish internship that I've had. I've had other internships, but it's something that's connected me to the community. So do you think that that's something that you would like to continue with?
For sure, yeah. It's definitely been nice to, work in a Jewish realm and to be able to, I'd love to in the future be able to write, something, within the Jewish world. So
what about you?
I definitely think, like Daniel said, like, this is my first, like I've worked in camp. Like, this is, like, I like going into an office every day. I like having a place to come. And just, like, to be with you, like, we walk every day and you're like, how was your weekend?
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, it's so nice to just, like, have a workplace where I can really just, like, be with people. So I definitely think that that's something that I've loved. And it's really also given me just a lot of experience to be able to take into the real world when I eventually finish college.
Yeah, and I do think it's important in this internship because it is like a Jewish internship and we can all relate to each other more than maybe in a different job. It is important to interact with each other and like create some sort of environment where we can talk, hang out, or just talk about college in general, being a Jew in college. So I think it's important to like use this opportunity as also networking. Like I know interns I've worked with in the past when I was an intern, like I've still connected with them now in college. I've seen them around. I know what they're up to. So it's like professional connections, but also just being like friendly with someone somewhere else, Right. So, yeah.
Also, something that's really cool about being in a Jewish environment, just like, it's like my dad would come home from work. He's like, oh, yeah, they got lunch today, but obviously he couldn't eat it. I'm like, well, we get lunch every Wednesday, and it's always fully kosher. And, like, we're making challah, and, like, no one questions whether it's fully kosher. And I just think that's amazing. Yeah.
Especially being, like, somewhat post-Israel for us. I think that, like, being able to continue your Jewish involvement, growth, and, like, being able to write a Dvar Torah or read the Dvar Torahs or engage in that in some way is also pretty special. What do you think of that?
Yeah, I mean, I think one other thing that, hopefully comes from this Jewish Link internship is that after last week seeing that someone my age got Kid of the Week, I'm hoping that somehow I can get that too. A lot of my friends texted me like, why is that not me? So, hopefully that connection can help me out.
Oh, I think it can. I think we can set that up. Yeah, that's a dream. I've always dreamed about being featured in the paper besides for my writing. Yeah. Or having a cover top story. That would be cool. What's your dream? Paper dream.
Paper dream? I don't know. I would say Sports Star of the Week, but that's like
Taken.
A little... I mean, what?
Didn't you just say that?
Well, no, I'm just regular Kid of the Week.
Kid of the Week,
Yeah.
So you could be Sports Star of the Week, you could be Kid of the Week.
Yeah, honestly, 3 of my 4 siblings have all been Sports Star of the Week. And
don't you play for the tennis team?
I do play for the Stern tennis team.
You should be the Sports Star of the Week.
And I do have to give Steve some credit. He did ask me like a year or 2 ago, and I was just like too busy, never got around to it. So he did ask me.
That should be a regret for you.
Yeah, it's a little
bit. What a missed opportunity.
Not gonna lie. Yes.
Yeah.
But also like my mother, she takes all the articles that anybody is in or anybody writes and like keeps all of them. And like literally, my friends walk down to my basement and they're like, "Oh my God, it's like a shrine to all the kids." And so I kind of want to overtake my older sister's wall and like have more articles than her.
Well, you have a lot of assignments.
Yes, I do.
Shira's the one who has a lot of assignments.
Yeah. They kind of just like kept like piling them onto me last week, and I was like, okay, now I'm at 5. Like,
because you're an intern, you have to say yes to everything.
Yeah, basically.
I tried taking that one for you today, and then they just threw more on you.
Yeah, which one?
The Czech hockey.
Oh, well, you took it from me. You have it.
I'm saying, but then they threw more at you.
Yeah, they tend. Yeah, it's okay.
We look out for each other.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
I mean, I think that one of the best things about this paper is that it's very accessible. Like, it's free, it's delivered to a lot of places, and there's a lot of different sections that people could connect to this or that. But I do think that as a college student and as a guest on the Intern Takeover, that, like, I think that people our age in college don't connect as much to the paper. I think that there's got to be a way to change that, maybe the podcast or maybe different types of articles, like interesting pieces about things relevant to them would be something that would bring in more readers from that demographic. And I don't think that it's that they don't like the link. They're just in school, busy. It's not like people in college don't necessarily I know we do, obviously, but don't necessarily sit down with the link and read it. Maybe on Shabbat, but it's not the number one thing on their list. So I think that being able to like cater more to college students or young adults even would be really cool.
Right. Yeah, definitely. Like, I'll tell people, like, oh, I have like, my older sister lives on the west side, and I've been there for jobs a few times, so I've made, like, a few of my own friends. And, like, I saw them, and they were like, what are you doing this summer? And I said, I'm working at the Jewish Link, catch my article on, like, page 18. And then, like, they would tell me after Shabbos, like, I picked up the Lincoln Shul this week. So I definitely think that just us working here is, like my friends know, like, my article's in there, like, maybe they want to read it. Or just, like, maybe they'll get, like, a younger style of writing just from, like, having us in it. So I definitely think that's a good thing.
Yeah, like maybe even having like a young professionals column where different people could write every week or something like that. Because you're right, like when people know they have a friend or family who wrote something yours in the paper, they're definitely going to pick up a copy. So just in terms of like readership, it would expand it, but also just connection and relevance to the paper for college students. I think that'd be cool.
Definitely.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a good point. To have, I think teenagers want to read, or more than teenagers, but college kids, teenagers want to read other college kids and teenagers like them. And it helps, when they see it's someone like them, that's going to make it a lot more interesting. So that would definitely help, I think.
Yeah, that's true. Because I think the Jewish Link is great for older people and families and like kids too. But like there's a chunk in the middle of like young professionals, college students, teens that could definitely benefit more.
Yeah, definitely. And also,
there's room for growth. It's a positive.
I also think like sometimes they do spotlights on like kids in Israel or like
that's a good point.
Sports teams. Like I had one from the tennis team. So like when they focus on a college student, that's more for that community.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, well, thank you guys so much for coming on. You guys have shared some really interesting points about yourself, about the paper, and I think everyone's going to be very excited to hear it.
Well, thanks for having us.
So now we're here with Dina and Eitan, our other two interns for the summer for our intern takeover. Why don't you guys tell me a little bit about where you're from, what got you interested in this internship, and what your connection to writing is?
So hi, my name is Dina, and I'm from Tenafly, and I have a very strong passion for writing, mostly because I grew up surrounded by a family of writers. They were into journalism and creative writing. So in that environment, it kind of cultivated my love of kind of using writing as a cathartic experience. And so in high school, I got involved in my newspaper, where I was the managing editor, and I was also the breaking news editor, which was interesting because I had to write articles in a very tight timeline sometimes, and I was social media manager for a bit too, and I created content for the Instagram and the Facebook, and also I was involved in the BBYO newspaper called The Shofar, and it's international, and we have writers from all the countries that BBYO reaches, which I think is about 60 or 70, which is a different experience for me because I had to work through like translation barriers and things like that. But it was very enjoyable, and in college I hope to write for my college's newspaper next year.
You're already like a little pro. That's what I'm hearing. We have a lot of talent here at the Jewish Link. What about you?
Yeah, I don't have quite as much experience.
But just as much potential.
Of course. I also started writing relatively early, though mostly I stuck to like creative writing, like short stories, poems, stuff like that. And here at the Jewish Link, I'm hoping to like expand my palette and get experience with other kinds of writing.
Yeah, so what would you be interested in writing about? Because I know you've already received an assignment, maybe you've read the link, you know what's there already, but what would you like to see implemented, not just in a pitch for an article, but just in general? What could you see more of for yourself or also for the link?
I think we kind of touched on this morning, but I'm a theater person, and I'd love to see more play reviews, not just specific to Broadway, but I feel like there's a lot of local plays that go on in high schools and community theater productions, a lot of which have a lot of Jewish themes that maybe aren't so much on the surface, like Fiddler on the Roof or Leopoldstadt, but a lot of them are written by Jewish writers and have a lot of Jewish elements in them, and I'd love to see more content on that because I feel like live theater's kind of dying a little bit, and I love to see it continue with a wider audience.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's definitely a viewership that would benefit from that. I think that theater is something so interesting because people will go to a Broadway show and think it's so fun, but they're not like a theater head. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a thespian, like they're not that.
Right.
Thespian is like a theater person, translation. But like, yeah, I think that would be something so cool to kind of bring on, and it's something you could go far with too. So what about you?
Yeah. I know of course there are a lot of articles on this already, but I feel like it'd be interesting to see more like general analysis stuff of like where the Jewish community like as a whole is at. Stuff like it's hard to put into words, but like stuff like what's Jewish culture like? Mm-hmm. Right. Well, like what's it like being in the Jewish community? Because obviously we're already here, but sometimes I think it could be useful to like take a step back and like really like analyze what our community like really see what our community is like to live in.
Yeah, for sure. And I think here, as much as any other job, like this is the place where you're going to be able to see what the Jewish community is like, both professionally, personally, and as an observer, because you're going to be reporting on things kind of from an observer's point of view, and that's something unique that you might not get somewhere else at another job. I think it's special to the Jewish link that we can both immerse ourselves into the Jewish community while observing it and reporting on it at the same time. So I think that's something you could also really take in a great direction.
Yeah, and of course the Jewish link reaches so many communities. Yeah. So it's great to see like a wide berth of like sub-communities within the larger Jewish community.
So what has it been like for you to work in a Jewish environment then, if that's the type of thing that you're interested in?
I think I mean, I've only been here, this is my first day on the job, but but so far it's really, because like I know that obviously I don't have work experience in like the secular office world, but it's good to know that like here everybody knows like what it means to be Jewish, right? Everyone knows that you have to daven mincha. Everyone knows everyone knows like what priorities are even outside the workplace. So I don't feel like I have to juggle that with Jewish priorities when I know that everyone around me has the same exact priorities and they know what I have to deal with. They know what I have to do.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that being in the Jewish environment, you're able to connect with peers also. That like for us, like I was just talking to Shira and Daniel about this. We're like, we have these Jewish peers that we're all interns. We have the chance for the next few weeks to connect with each other, be friendly, be friends with each other, talk to each other in the office, and like see what college is like as a Jew, see what coming back from Israel is like. And I think that that's also something really unique. And I know like because you just came from high school, right? So do you want to speak to that a little?
Yeah, so I went to a secular public high school that had a very large Jewish population. I think my school is about 40% Jewish, 20% of which is Israeli. We have like the largest Israeli population outside of Israel in my town. And so from that, it was kind of like a balance, like you're just talking about, of how a lot of people in my community understood what it meant to be Jewish and all these things, but then we also had to deal with the other things, like why are you taking off school or why are you doing this? So I feel like in this environment, it not only do we like have the same customs, we also have the same values and we have the same patterns of speech, and it's just like a good opportunity to kind of just like let loose and kind of be yourself instead of not censoring your speech for other people or censoring like your way of life, but sort of just, adapting to how other people are, whereas in this environment you can kind of just relax.
Yeah. So do you think you'll like continue in a Jewish environment because of this? Or I mean, I know it's only your first day, but
yeah. I worked at a Jewish restaurant last summer, and it just they're always such welcoming environments, and I'd love to continue that, and in college join a bunch of Jewish organizations as well.
Yeah, I mean, Cornell, where you're going, there are a lot of Jews there, close to Binghamton, where I go, so we can visit each other. But I know that it could be like difficult to go from a Jewish environment this summer into like a secular environment in college. So how do you think you can bring the values that you're gaining as a Jewish journalist into, your school?
I would also say that a lot of the Jewish values are newspaper values in general. Like education and community are big things in the Jewish community, but they're also big things in the journalism world that we like to talk about. Yeah. So obviously at Cornell, the newspaper is secular, the Cornell Daily Sun. But I think that it won't be that difficult to kind of bring my values and my priorities into that space. And also they write a bunch of articles, the Jewish writers, about the Jewish happenings at the university and things like that. So I'd love to continue that and write about all the and Chabad events that are going on. And
well, we can't wait to see your articles. And I think right now we have two very different interns sitting at the table. Like, you're going to Cornell next year, you just came from high school, you just came from Shana Aleph, you're going back Shana Bet. Right. And I guess on the same note, like, what do you think you can do to bring in some of these values, some of these skills that you're learning this summer into where you're going next?
Into where I'm going next. I think one of the biggest skills I'm going to be picking up here is like how an office works, basically.
Yeah.
Right. Obviously, I'm just out of high school. Basically, just out of high school. I don't have much like work experience. So I'm also hoping to get a lot here is like how to work in an office.
Yeah.
Like how to be on top of email, on top of like writing assignments, getting them done. I mean, obviously, I've had that experience in school as well. But I feel like this is going to be good because it's like a lot more structured than like homework, which you can basically do whenever you have time.
Yeah, that's true. So it's like similar in the sense you have assignments that are due.
Right,
but it's different because we're in that professional environment.
Yeah.
So like what type of thing do you think that you would be looking forward to get more out of? Again, I know you haven't been here for so long, but something that you would like to see more of this summer for yourself professionally, maybe skills you'd like to learn.
I think one of the biggest things I'm going to want to pick up on is really developing work ethic.
Mm-hmm.
Like to just like know that now I'm sitting down, I have an article to write, I'm going to write the article, right? And I'm just going to just get it done, right? This is the time I have allotted to write the article. I'm going to sit down and write it, which honestly I have not been like great at in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I hope to really develop that now.
Yeah. What about you, Dina?
Yeah, so kind of in the same vein, I've been working on my school's newspaper in the view I own, but I haven't worked at a professional newspaper that has more of an adult catered audience.
Yeah.
So I feel like just learning the ropes of journalism in a more general sense is very valuable because my school newspaper is very catered to my school and VVIO very catered to like the Jewish teen world.
Yeah.
Whereas this is the Jewish world in a different sense, but in a more general sense. And I feel like it'll be more freeing in a way to kind of write articles about kind of whatever topics I want, but also learning how to, especially I'm really interested in learning more about editing.
Yeah.
And I love to see how the articles are edited here and how that process is like.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, speaking of the audience too, by the way, like we were just talking about with Shira and Daniel about how we can make the paper more tasteful or more digestible to a young adult, maybe college student or older teen type of age group, because I think that the paper caters a lot towards like family and older people, but that gap in between is kind of somewhere where we can come in into the interns and be like, hey, like we need this or that. So to make your friends want to read it, make your peer from your club or someone in your class like know what the Jewish Link is, or maybe not because they go to Cornell or Binghamton. But in general, like how can we make this paper something that is like desirable for someone our age? What do you think has been desirable for you reading the paper?
So things I think maybe that could be expanded upon the paper is we have a lot of sections for like different things, like there's the food section and whatnot and all these different reviews, and I feel like maybe there could be a section specifically catered towards young adults in terms of maybe fashion or media where people do reviews on certain things or new clothing stores or just like summer ideas and jobs, and I feel like if that's like a specific section that we can get a wider audience to as opposed to like college students have very short attention spans and flipping through a whole paper to try to find something that caters to them. If we all put it in one like digestible area, I feel like could be very beneficial.
Yeah, that's a good point. What do you think?
I think I'd have to agree, right?
Yeah.
This is like in the summer it can be hard to like find stuff to do because there's a lot of time to fill and like it's not immediately obvious what you should be doing with that time.
Right.
So I think like stuff like that, articles about like state fairs going on, other events is happening locally, right? Or even not so locally, right? People have time in the summer to go places. But I feel like just like having that in one place is gonna be great for young adults.
Yeah, even something like professional development, like an advice column almost, or like you were saying, how to use that time to like further what you want to be doing. I think that would be really cool to see too. And like especially in this environment, it's both professional and like friendly / chill. I think it would be nice for us to be able to like contribute to that or read that even. So I think that'd be really cool. What do you guys think about the environment, the other interns? Like, do you have plans to make connections or maybe with the office staff in general? Like, how do you think that's going? I mean, it's only been the first day.
Yeah.
Let's just
it's hard to say because, again, it's only been one day. But honestly, I feel like the one thing I'm looking forward to here is meeting new people, making some friends.
Yeah, for sure. What about you?
I've loved the environment so far. I prefer to like kind of work independently and then collaborate when I have questions and things like that, and that's kind of how the office is run. So it's been great for me to just kind of sit and do my work, and then if I have questions, everyone's been willing to help me. And
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun about the cubicles, right? Like, you can be kind of, like, antisocial, do your own article whenever you want, and then you could also, like, get up and, like, go to someone else's cubicle or get a coffee past Shira's desk and say hi, you know? Like, either one, which I need both sometimes. So I think it's a good mix in general, because sometimes the office is more quiet, sometimes it's louder. So I think that's also been great. And what do you guys think of, like, the smaller office team?
I think it's great because we can really collaborate and get to know each other on a personal level instead of like newspapers that have huge staff. It's very like, I just know your name. I don't know anything about you. Like, you're just the person who edits my articles. And I feel like we implemented that kind of my high school newspaper too, where like we had the meetings that were run by the editors, of which I was one last year. But aside from that, we had a group chat with everyone where we just like talk about the newspaper, but also if anybody had anything else to say, we could talk about that, or like we gave them our numbers if they had stuff to chat about. And I feel like that created like a more chill environment for everyone. And I the same kind of vibe here. We have an intern group chat and everything. And I feel like it's just better because we get to know each other and get to know who we're working with.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I feel like we could text at any time, any hours if you want. Either an article looked over or maybe like just advice generally about something about the job, which is, I think, a cool part of this job. It's something you don't get everywhere, but I think it's a valuable thing to be able to like transition into the professional world, is first be comfortable with your peers, a familiar setting like this one, and if you want to eventually expand, like you have those skills in your back pocket. And I think you got that, the Jewish link, being an intern. Yeah. Thank you everyone for watching. We've had a great time speaking with Dina and Eitan about their experiences here at the Jewish Link, and we hope to see you all soon.
Thanks for being with us on the Jewish Link Pitch Meeting podcast. If you would like to participate or be in touch with us in any way, please email us at editor@jewishlink.news and follow us and find our podcast wherever you find podcasts.